Hi there, Adrian Hanks here from the Where Am I Right Now 12-week online life mastery program. What I want to share with you today are some insights on what it is that can prevent us from becoming what I call that future potential self. The things that prevent us from receiving all that we desire, all those things that we try to manifest in our lives, all those things that are on the wish list, all the things that we'd like to be receiving and gaining in our lives. Oftentimes we have the wish, we have the desire, but there's something within us that stops us from receiving that, from achieving that. And there are lots of reasons. But what I want to share with you today are 3 key things that are the things that prevent us from receiving the things we truly desire, the things that we want to achieve in our lives. And those 3 things I'm going to call the 3 beasts, or the 3 enemies. And we're going to talk about what they are, and also how to use some anecdotes and how to find things to overcome them, to tame them, so they're not so present, so they're not the things that control us. So we're going to look at 3 aspects. We're going to look at looking at doubt. We're going to look at looking at fear. And we're going to look at that aspect of self-hatred. It's a big word, self-hatred. A sense of not loving ourselves. So we're going to look at the doubt, the fear, and, bear with me, self-hatred. It's a very powerful, strong word. So let's take doubt. Let us have a look at doubt. What is doubt? Where does doubt live? What does doubt do to us? Well, doubt lives in the mind. It lives in that subconscious area of the mind. Because when we start to feed our thoughts, our ideas, and our beliefs about ourselves, about others, and about the world, and we impregnate them into the subconscious mind, that's where we start to operate from. We start to operate from whatever we put in. And that's through our thoughts, our ideas, our visions, the educations, the beliefs, all those things that we have and we embed into the subconscious mind. And then what happens is we start to do something, and then the belief system that we implanted there kicks in. And it arrests us, it stops us from actually doing what we truly want to do, what we want to achieve, what we want to bring into that desire. Very challenging, doubt. Living with that sense of doubt in our mind. You've probably had it. I certainly get it myself. Go to do something, not quite sure if I can. I'm not this enough or that enough. Rich enough, tall enough, slim enough, good looking enough. Educated enough, articulate enough. All those things that we reflect back on ourselves, where we are less than. That's when the doubt comes in. So we have to learn to build ourselves up, to overcome and to tame the doubts. So we have to get into that place of clarity, clarity of thinking, clarity of thought. Really bringing ourselves into presence. So we're absolutely clear without the fog of doubt. And there are a few ways that we can do this to begin the process, to help to bring ourselves into that clarity. There are a few key things I'd like to share with you. The first thing I'd like to share is finding some rich study. Some rich study that's going to bring the mind into clarity, to bring the mind into sharpness. So often we can numb ourselves out in the mind with drugs and alcohol and other things that we can bring into our life. Too much television. Lots of things. We have to bring that clarity in, and study is a great way to do that. Bringing in the study aspect to sharpen the mind. So find something to study. It could be a spiritual text, it could be something you're really interested in, but bring something in that's going to sharpen the mind. The second thing I'd like to bring in is the meditation. Bringing in that daily practice of meditation. Such an important aspect to keep the mind clear. To be really clear and sharp in the mind. To stop harbouring those doubts. So bring in a meditation for yourself. Find a meditation. Very, very, very important thing to do. The third thing that I'd like to bring in and share with you in terms of bringing the clarity in and keeping that doubt away is that aspect of making clear plans. Getting that visualization right. And really getting clear on what it is we want to do. Writing that bucket list. Getting our business clear. Getting our life clear. Bringing in that rational thinking of planning. It's a really good thing to do. It's not so much about being out there in too much of a creative space, but it's about getting clear on the pathway forward. Getting the rational mind in place. Getting the clarity in place. Alleviating any doubt of what I may or may not be able to do. What I can or cannot do. So bring ourselves into that place of absolute clarity of thinking is the antidote for doubt. So go and share that, go and explore that, go and do some research on that, and see if you can work on overcoming and mastering that aspect of doubt within yourself. The next aspect that I would like to share with you is the aspect of fear. Now there's only one anecdote, there's only one way to overcome fear, and that's to find the courage to face it and work through it. So it's about action, it's about getting into the wheel. So this is about the limbs. This is in the limb system. This is about taking action with courage to overcome the fears. Okay? Fear can be really liberating. It can really hold us back on so many levels. We can really be in that place of fear, being really stuck. So it's about finding the courage, using the courage to break through the fear. One of the clearest things I say to people when I'm working with people, my students, my clients in the fear space is name the fear. Let's go inside and look at what the fear is. Let's name it. Let's bring it to light. Even in that act of bringing the fear to light, we are engaging with our courage. We are facing the fear. So just take a moment now to imagine all the fears that can arise. All the fears you've had in your life. Perhaps there's some current fears that you're sitting with. Some really big fears. The fear of public speaking. The fear of being in front of a video camera. The fear of speaking our truth. Many, many fears. The fear of being alone. The fear of walking in the bush. The fear of the ocean. Many, many fears come up for us. And we really know that to overcome and to master fear, we have to engage with the aspect of courage. So get clear about it. Write it down. What is my fear? What do I have to do? Really, really important to break into moving through and overcoming our fears. Particularly if we want to take ourselves into that place of what I call the future potential self. Really being in that space of, I really want to be there. I want to become that person that my soul, my spirit is crying out to become, to be. But if the fear grabs us and holds us back, it's very hard to reach that place. Physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, vocationally, so many aspects of our being wants to grow and expand. And fear can just hold us back and retard us back. So stepping into that place, some really great tools for it. Some of the tools I use are the power words, forming some power words to create who I truly am. Finding my power name and speaking that every day to bring myself into presence. Because if we're in fear, we're not in presence. We're not totally, fully who we truly are. So we have to learn to breathe and bring ourselves in. Breathe and bring ourselves in. So I do this exercise every day. I breathe myself in. I become the Grand Master Adrian, which is the power name I have for myself. And if I get gripped in that fear or even the doubt about who I truly am, and I start to belittle myself, to make myself smaller, then the fear has won, the fear has overcome me. So I have to be bigger than the fear. I have to find that courage. So find the power name, find the essence of who you are, to overcome and to tame and to master that aspect of fear. The third aspect I want to share with you, very powerful words, is self-hatred, the lack of self-love. It's very, very powerful, isn't it, the word hatred? Very, very powerful. But I want to use it in a way to really express and give us some understanding on the power of what the energy has for us. Because the antidote, the healer for self-hatred is self-love. It lives in the heart, it lives in the feeling realm. So we have to engage with the feelings within. We have to truly go in and get a sense of, how do I feel about myself? Can I love myself? Do I love myself? Or I still have that understanding, that voice that tells me I'm not good enough, I'm not pretty enough, gorgeous enough, rich enough, slim enough. All those things that keep us down into the self-hatred space. It's very hard to operate in life if we don't have the self-love. And I will say, how can we expect others to love us truly if we don't love ourselves, if there's still an element of hatred? This is a really big one to overcome for many, many, many of us. The whole fashion industry, the whole beauty industry is there to tell us that we are not good enough. There's a cream for this, there's a product for that. Your skin's not right. You look too old. You look too crinkled. Your hair's not the right colour. Your lips are not the right colour. Your eyes are not the right colour. Your cheeks are not the right colour, the right shape. So we have to overcome such a huge industry, a global industry that keeps telling us we are not good enough. And in some cases the education system tells us we're not good enough. Perhaps our family, our parents, our friends tell us we're not good enough. We tell ourselves, I am not good enough, by buying into those beliefs, those stories. So self-hatred, let's really take a look at it. I say to people, can you stand in front of the metaphorical mirror, truly stand there and say, I love me? Can we truly do that? Can I love me physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritually, all aspects of my being? Can I truly embrace and learn to love that? It's a really big challenge. It's a huge challenge. But it's one of the three beasts or the three enemies that keep us from expanding into true life mastery. And this is what this is all about. This is the program I'm bringing. This is the work I'm bringing to you. The gift I'm bringing is to support you to get to that place of absolute life mastery. And if we don't get through these three key aspects, the fear, the doubt, and the self-hatred, they're the big ones, they're the keys, and we have to work on them every day. We have to understand them, we have to go there, we have to name it, we have to put in the hard yakka, the hard work, to really break through. So let's get to that place of self-love. What can you do to nurture yourself? What are your nurturing needs? It doesn't have to be huge. It can be the massage, it can be the touch. But what about self? Can you give you self-massage? Can you give you self-touch? Can you give you self-warmth? Can you hug yourself within? Really challenging work. You can write a list of all the things you love about yourself. Because it's easy to write all the things we know the negative about ourselves. But can you write a list of all the things you love about yourself? All the beautiful things. And expand on that and learn to really embrace and love that. This is the journey that we have to take. The journey of self-love. And then once we have that feeling, then we can go out into the world and express that and smile it out and give that energy out. Perhaps it's time to join a social group, social club, to be present in that space. And learning to be social and be out there in the world in a loving way to show the world that you love yourself. Because when we love ourselves, then others can truly love us. We can truly let that love in from others. But it starts with self. The art of self-loving. Self-intimacy. Self-sexuality. Self-nurture. Self-love. They are the ways that we can overcome the power of self-hatred. Thank you.